What's up, guys? Mrs. Slick Gaming here, and today we're going to be looking at Lily Orchard's writing tips. Now, I have seen some of these, and I have noticed that these are not actually writing tips. These are more like personal preferences that she'll like in a book or a movie or a play. This is just all her personal preference. Now, she deleted this thread on Twitter, but it's the internet, and the internet basically took screenshots of this whole entire thing, which is good. So I'm gonna be watching a video here by the Orange Ninja. I'll leave the link in the description below. And let's start. There's 100 of these motherfuckers, so I am a writer myself. I am an amateur writer, but I have took writing classes. I have done exceptionally well, and essentially all of them. Essentially all of them. There are areas where I have took criticism and I have improved of them. And for example, I have rewritten my characters so many times that I have lost count, and I'm probably still gonna rewrite them. But with that being said, let's continue. Okay, I'm gonna do on my Pixel 4a, and let's go. Okay, number one. Don't worry about spoilers. If your story is good, spoilers aren't going to make it any less enjoyable. If spoilers make a story less enjoyable, that just means you are relying on cheap shock value as a shortcut. It depends on the spoilers, right? It depends on the spoiler. If I tell you in Endgame, Iron Man fucking died, right? That is a ginormous spoiler. But it is better to write in secrecy. It really is. Um, you want to make your story as unpredictable as possible. But the thing is, a story can still be predictable and be enjoyable. It just matters. It's just about the execution of the story, I feel like. So I understand what she's talking about there. Uh, Number two, the middle point of a story is the best time to get a main couple together. Are you working on a 5-season show? Put your main couple throughout. Put your main couple together. Sorry, halfway through season 3. The finale is the worst time because we don't get any time to enjoy the payoff. To me, it depends on the relationship that's already established. Correct. If the two partners involved in this relationship clearly have feelings for each other, and these feelings have seemed like they've been prominent for a long time, then I feel like you should do it in the middle of the story. But if these couples are just met and they have but if two parties, these two parties, if they just met, correct, and they have to develop a relationship, and there's something like a really big obstacle in the way, because usually romantic plots are subplots. uh Once the giant issue goes away, that's when they confess their feelings for each other. But the thing about, like, are you working on a 5-season show? Some shows don't know how many seasons they're gonna get until until uh they get renewed for a season. Legend of Korra was only gonna be 1 season, and that turned out to be a huge clusterfuck. And speaking of Legend of Korra, main couple getting together, Aang and Katara, they got literally the last shot was them kissing, and established them as being a main couple. Now, with that being said, should you with that well never mind. With that being said, Aang and Katara were such like well developed characters that they were known more for the type of person they are than rather than their relationships with people. So that's why it was such a big payoff, I feel like. But I understand where she's coming from. Okay, let's continue. It's a video, so I have to wait. Okay, this is the personal preference one, which friends to lovers is greater than enemies to lovers every time. To me, it depends on the execution. Friends to lovers, I feel like is an easier execution to do to enemies to lovers, because friends to lovers they already have similarities. Uh, they already have this established chemistry. Uh, you know, there are relationships that people ship together. Uh, Enemies to lovers, though, that is harder to execute, in my opinion. Uh, you have to establish them. You have to give them a reason. So, enemies to lovers, I feel like if you were just to establish them to make sure that the relationship makes sense and not do some like pocus bullshit, then it will work. Okay. Now, number four, victims of abuse, moving away from the negative impacts of their abusers. She put an example here, i.e., Zuko, becoming healthier are not redemption arcs. Literally, the first thing that we learn about Zuko is that he has to capture the Avatar so he can earn his redemption back. And the redemption arc is a bad guy turning into a good guy, right? Zuko is one of those examples. So yes, Zuko has a redemption arc. I don't really know why that would be controversial, but yeah. Heroes refusing to kill villains. Sorry, number five. Heroes refusing to kill villains who have shown to be actively trying to murder people isn't noble. It's enabling. The classic Batman should kill Joker trope. Well, one of the part of the reasons why Batman doesn't kill Joker is because Batman is more mentally unstable than casuals think he is. So he knows if he kills Joker, then he'll just like go down a path of like killing every criminal he comes across. But I don't really blame Batman for not killing Joker. I blame the GCPD. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Joker deserves to be like on the death penalty like 100 times over by this point, and he still haven't killed the motherfucker. Okay, number six. Two women kissing in the last episode of a show after 4 or 5 seasons of trying to murder each other isn't revolutionary. It's fetishized abuse and violence. Uh, it depends. Like everybody has enemies. Like one of my favorite tropes is the protagonist and antagonist. They would be best friends if they weren't so bound by loyalty uh to their sides. Uh Say that it's fetishized abuse and violence. It'll only be abuse if it happens uh after the relationship is established. Uh yeah, that's what my opinion on that. Seven, Twitter is not an appropriate place to reveal story details. The appropriate place is in the work itself. I agree. But didn't you just say earlier to not worry about spoilers? You see what this is oh my god. Okay. Twitter's yes, the work itself. In my writing account I give like details about like my characters and everything, but I'm not gonna give away like subplots or like plots of my main story because that would be stupid. Okay. Um all right, let's continue here because it's a video. Okay, there we go. When a character's body count is over 10,000 innocent lives, then that character is no longer redeemable. I don't watch Star Wars. Surprisingly, I don't. I don't watch Star Wars. It's too nerdy and geeky for me. But last time I checked, Darth Vader is a totally redeemable character because it was executed uh, perfectly. So yeah, yeah, and I feel like people know that Darth Vader has killed possibly millions of people and he's still redeemable. Tip 8 does not apply to characters for whom making them the villain was a stupid, idiotic idea, i.e., Sylvana's Windrunner. I have no idea what that is. At that point, it's just character rearrangement. No, that's a redemption. That's a redemption arc. You just have to execute it perfectly. Dragon Ball Z is full of redemption arcs. Piccolo, Vegeta, Tien, they were all eventually villains, and it became, and every single one of them became friends of Goku's. Um, so no, everything in a story is there because the creator wished it to be there. Trying to explain away bigoted story decisions. Oh gosh, she's one of those people that um, don't really. Oh, what the fuck? Don't really use the word bigot to its actual definition. So it's gonna be one of those. Trying to explain away bigoted story decisions using world building is a fallacy because you put it there to begin with. Well, what if I want to make a book that's about racism, and I make a racist character to highlight the racism in that world? Does that mean that I truly believe that white people should be calling black people the N word? No, it's to establish my message. Okay, now racism is way more subtle than that. I feel like, but uh, this is stupid. Okay, number 11. Now, number 11, I understand what she's trying to get here, but it's too vague. Don't pair adults with minors. That's pedophilia. That's a very loose term of pedophilia. Pedophilia is an adult that's actively trying to have any sexual relationship with a minor. Now, when you say don't pair adults with minors, that's like saying, oh, this underage character doesn't need a mentor figure like Johnny and Mr. Miyagi and Karate Kid. This child doesn't need a father figure or a mother figure in their life. So I feel like clarifying that would help. All right, number 12. Don't sexualize teenage characters. She should rephrase this to don't sexualize underage characters because you're technically a teenager until you're 21. I'm technically a teenager. I'm 19. So, you know, but yeah, if you don't sexualize them. Don't make up weird anime excuses for sexualizing teenage characters. And she put examples. Oh, I'm actually 1,000 years old, which if you're actually 1,000 years old, you're not really a teenager. Fusion, age of consent in X country is dot dot dot. See your rule 10. Uh oh god, oh god, I've caught a glimpse of the next one. But don't make weird anime excuses for sexualizing teenage characters. I mean, yeah, but like as I said, teenage characters are like 18 and up. And the thing is, the age of consent does matter because Japan's age of consent is different from America's age of consent. So the things that we might find wrong in their work, they don't find absolutely nothing wrong with it. Like they find nothing wrong with it. So I don't really see why age of consent in X country is blank. I really don't. Number 4, making a metaphor for a gay trans ace rep is always inherently inferior to just making a gay trans ace character. Well, it depends if that gay trans ace character is just there to prove that in your book that you only have diversity and you don't develop them as a character, then that's on your fault as the writer, correct? Um, so no, I don't think it's inherently inferior. Making a character that people look at just beyond just what their sex is very important. Uh, Number 15. If there are humans in your story, restricting gay, trans, ace rep to the non-human characters makes you a huge turd. Makes You're a huge turd. What is this lingo that she's using? Okay. Um, so she's essentially saying don't stereotype. If the only gay man in your work is a foppish diva, you're a huge turd. Again, don't stereotype gay men. Just say that. Okay, just say that characters should not be walking stereotypes. Okay, make them stand out. Like, have an extremely proud character crack a smile or, share a moment of intimacy with someone that he truly loves. That is breaking the stereotype. If the only lesbian in your work is an abusive rageaholic with vague angst issues and a comp- and a codependent codependent I'm sorry relationship to a protagonist, you're a huge turd. Oh god, these yeah, don't stereotype. Just don't stereotype. I could saved. If your only non-binary character is a non-human shapeshifter, you're a huge turd. Don't stereotype. If your only autistic character is an ethically challenged number fetishist, you're a huge turd. Don't fucking stereotype. This is essentially what she's saying. I don't know why this is so controversial. Um, but with number 19, like the autism spectrum's like so wide that you can be a still fully functioning human with slight autism and be perfectly fine. Uh, if your only black character is a volatile, uh, hyper angry brute, you're a huge turd. Uh, I feel like humanity has passed that fact. I know way more white characters that are like this than black characters. So, yeah. If the only woman in your cast barely gets any screen time except to be fetishized or fits Rule 20, you're a huge turd. Uh, like I said, I feel like humanity's way past that part where, I've been alive 19 years. I have not seen a girl that's like that, except like those like cliche like 80s slashers like Friday the 13th and everything like that. If the only trans woman in your cast a drag queen in all but name, you're a huge turd. Huh. I'm not even gonna debate on that. Okay. I don't think I've ever actually met a trans person in real life. If you force a woman to kiss your abuser, you're a huge turd. Or Lily, you don't understand that no matter how much a person can abuse you, no matter how much a person abuses you, Lily, no matter what, you still love them. See, that's the thing about abuse. You still believe that the person can change. So obviously, obviously, it is a realistic aspect to have in a novel or any type of writing to have a woman kiss her abuser. Uh, if you sideline every non-white character in your cast to focus on a white boy with anger issues and a tendency towards hostility getting a redemption arc, you're a huge turd. I'm not this fucking huge turd. It's like I don't know. Justifying horny army designs or horny clothing designs with sexual uh, agency makes you a huge turd. Characters don't have sexual agency. Make them that as a justification. See Rule 10. Um, I'm pretty sure that like 90% of the people that do create like the horny armor designs are the people of that said gender. Like I know there have been women that have made other women's armors and it made them extremely skimpy and everything like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, that's up to you. It's up to you as the writer to make your character more than just a sexual object. Give them a personality, give them a goal. It's not that hard. Um, Relating to the above, if your justification is to just be honest and say you like oogling sexy characters, you're still a huge turd, but slightly less of a turd than the above. Slightly. Lily, what's so wrong about having characters that are sexualized? You know, there are normal everyday outfits that guys find sexy. You know, just because a girl has big boobs doesn't mean she's sexualized. What if another woman has small boobs? What if another woman has medium boobs? What if another woman's flat chested? What if you're trying to make it like realistic to real life, where not everybody has the same fucking titties as you do, huh? Uh, but just sex shaming at this. I don't like that. Just let people fucking do whatever they want. Uh, Don't worry about not having everything planned out beforehand. No writer or creator plans everything beforehand, and the ones who say they do are filthy liars. Writers have at best one or two story beats they'll determine to include. Everything else is by the seat of the pants. No! This is terrible writing advice. So, Lily, what you're essentially saying to me is you should always turn in your first draft. Bullshit. Okay, that is bullshit. Uh, you have to plan out the characters. You have to plan out the setting. You have to plan out the plot, the subplot. You have to plan out the climax. You have to plan out the ending. At least, at least, for the for your novel, for your writing, before you actually start writing your said piece of fiction or whatever. You can't just go out of whim. And you just have to fill in the areas in between with world building or lore building or character development. It's up to you to do that. uh, don't try and do what Avatar did. You can't. Even the people who made Avatar can't make another show do what Avatar did. Yeah, don't be the next Avatar. Be your unique book. Okay, just do that. Be unique. It is not that hard of a concept. Low stakes interpersonal conflicts will always be more satisfying in the long run than high stakes saving the world. Friends is more popular than your favorite anime for a reason. What? Friend? Well, one, it helps that Friends is in English. You know, the most like learned language in the world. Yeah, it helps with that. And two, people will always rather watch comedy than something depressing, because people are like that. That's how humans work. Um, no, but it depends. Like, if you have your characters and you develop them well enough, where the stakes are high for them, then as the reader, this they're is going to have high stakes for you because you develop such a loving character. So, no, this is stupid. I just accidentally fucking Jesus Christ. Okay, choose whether you're a comedy or drama at the start and stick with it. Don't make a comedy turn it into a drama. Uh, I can't see the fuck that bottom word says. Okay, bless you, mom. That just annoys people. No, I mean, there are plenty of shows out there that start off as a drama. They start off as a drama, but they they slightly turn into a comedy. Why do they slightly turn into a comedy? And it's not overbearing or anything like that. It's just to add some lightheartedness amongst the chaos. Essentially, it is it is because when you start off, a series, or a series in a show or in a novel, you want to establish your characters as soon as possible. You want to establish the stakes of the plot as soon as possible. So naturally, comedy will always come last when it comes to that decision. But comedy can be added to a drama. One of the best examples is Yakuza. Yakuza, very first two games, Yakuza 1 and 2, are extremely dramatic and lacking some humor, especially with Kiryu, who the main character, he's not really a humorous person whatsoever. He is very proud, he's very stubborn, he's very serious. But there's other characters that get added that softens the blow. You know, they give some like a lightheartedness to the game, to the story specifically, because the game in Yakuza, it goes from extremely serious to extremely wacky at times. Um, World building is like salt. A pinch can make it better. 10 cups of it will not. I think like some of the best-selling novels have like some of the best world building. I feel World Lord of the Rings has it. Um, it depends on the execution. Depends on how you space it out or not. What if like if in one of my books, um, my main character is going to a city that he's never been to before. Uh, that is technically world building. You know, probably there's possibly different cultures there. You're gonna understand how the world works over there. So no, 32. Characters should always come before anything else. I agree with this if it's gonna be like a TV series that's gonna have a lot of seasons. A novel that's gonna have multiple volumes. Stuff like that. Characters should always come first because of one thing. You know, a plot can be horrendous. The choreography can be extremely stupid, but readers will still read. Readers will continue reading if the character development is done well enough. Now, when it comes to like just like one offs, then I feel like the plot is better than the characters. Back in the '80s, the slasher genre, that was obviously more of just we just want to see these people die more than the characters, and they made those characters absolutely despicable. When those teenagers that just want to have sex 24/7 and all that. Okay, number 33. The protagonist should not be a protagonist. Not should be a protagonist, not just a vessel for the antagonist to hog the story. If you're going to make a villain protagonist, just open with that. A villain protagonist is an anti-hero. Last time I checked, anti-heroes are probably the most like most favorite type of protagonist. You have like people like Deadpool, who's an anti-hero. You have Vegeta, who people say he's the most well-written character. To me, my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z is Piccolo. I love him. Uh, so yeah. Um, this is just personal preference. It's not really writing tips. So, number four, number 34. Sorry. Perspective shifts are a staple of storytelling. Having only one perspective isn't a stylistic choice, it's just crap. Now, this is just personal preference. It's not really writing tips. I mean, perspective shifts are usually to establish that the main character thinks that they're the hero of the story, while but the perspective changes to the antagonist thinking that they're the hero of the story, which makes sense because everybody thinks that they're the hero of their own story. But saying it's not a stylistic choice. What if you just don't want to make the antagonist not redeemable? Because that is possible. It has been executed fairly well, especially in a series that's already been established. Um, Number 35. If you're making a cartoon, hire writers. Don't just have your storyboarders write the story. That's not what they're there for. Artists draw, writers write, artists can, and then it's blocked by the blue reply button, take over for the writers on a whim. I mean, usually writers and artists go hand in hand. People that can write can also draw. I'm not one of those. But when I do plan out like settings and when I do plan out like the setting of my novels, I like to do like a little floor plan. I've actually just bought like a video game recently that like makes you create buildings from scratch, and I'm essentially using that to envision how I want everything to look like. Uh, let's go to number 36, which is going to take some time. Okay, relating to Rule 2, will they, won't they, isn't a fun story. It's just addicting peddling. We need to stop pretending Ross and Rachel are fucking friends. Friends! Friends! I don't even like Friends. Was good storytelling and learn to appreciate Chandler, Monica, and Joey Rachel. It can be executed. It just depends on the execution. What is it with? It's just the execution. That's all that matters. This is not really good advice. Um, number 37. Romance trope, but gay, is not an absolute rule to live by. If Shira taught us anything, is that gay Raylo was not actually an improvement. I've read a lot of books, and there's only been slightly a lot of them. I better read a lot of novels in high school. There's really wasn't the romance trope, but gay. There wasn't really a romance in it. Once I think about it, they just cared about the characters, and what kind of person they were. Okay. 38. Someone on this health site once made the remark, we need more lesbian non-con. Non-con is non-consensual because purity is boring. That is a dangerous, violent person. Do not listen to them. They do not have a point. Seriously, my fucking god, what is wrong with you people? This is not writing advice. Les non-consensual lesbian porn. Uh yeah, I feel like a lot of people, well, people do things that people are not comfortable with. Just because you put a rape scene in a novel doesn't mean you are necessarily a fan of rape. Is that you recognize that rape is a big issue, and you add it to through major character development. It's women who fetishized abuse. She gave a couple of examples here that I don't know. Present it as something feminist and paint detractors as misogynists or gaslighting you. Don't listen to them. I have no idea what she means by this. I have no idea what she means by this. Let's just continue, please. If a butte fetishes, what the fuck is what? She just loves fetishes. Are giving you shit for not caving to their demands. Just block them. Don't argue with them. Don't debate them. Don't treat them with good faith. Just block them and get on with your day. I don't even know anymore. Number 41. Rape victims are not villains and should never be written as villains. Don't be like Blizzard. It costs $0 to not be a misogynistic pig. Um, just because you were raped doesn't necessarily mean that that character was good. I mean, every character has flaws, right? That's number one. Number two, it has been a common theme that the people that become abused, that the people that are abused are most likely to become the abuser. There are, you know, say there is a character out there that was abused as a child by his or her father, and when they grow up and have their own kids, they basically like they basically do spread that abuse onto their child. This is seen And the person that's and the mother would usually be like, oh, you're lucky I'm not abusing you as much as my parents abused you or something like that. That's a common trait. Okay. Okay, number 41. If straight men really hate a certain character but lesbians love them, there's a 90% chance that is your best character. Or the fact that you took something that originally didn't have agenda and you just like did a whole 180 and now it has an agenda, right? Like comic books. I'm sorry, ladies. Comic books are meant for men. They are, right? Men love comic books. Men love flashy shit. So when one of the beloved heroes just out of nowhere just becomes something else or something like that to appeal to the social justice of this world, obviously people are going to be mad about it. Okay. Number 43. If one of your writers believes Simon, Infinity Train, I've never seen Infinity Train, uh, or probably read, I don't know, was misunderstood and Grace is a villain, that writers should be fired immediately. Now, I can't really comment on this because I've never seen or uh, watched or uh, read Infinity Train. I don't even. I think it's a book. I don't know. I think it's a book turned to a novel. It's probably one of those. But to say that writer should be fired immediately without them actually given the reasoning why he's misunderstood is just it's just a person that can't take criticism. And as a writer, taking criticism is like one of the things you have to do. Sorry if you guys can hear my mom. My mom's talking so fucking loud. Okay. Oh, number 44. The best solution to a love triangle is polyamory. If you guys don't know what polyamory is, it's essentially you are together with your significant other and it's an open relationship. That's essentially what polyamory is. Is you're in a relationship but it's extremely open so you can go sleep with other people. As a person, loyalty to me, being loyal to your boyfriend, it's a very important trait to have, right? Uh, I value loyalty above everything. Well, besides honesty, and this is not the best solution. It's not. It's not. Well, I'm getting tired of love triangles in general, but this is not the best solution. 45. If you have a male character who actually shows respect and admiration to a woman, and some of the viewers call that character a simp, there's a 90% chance you have a good character. Just because you're friendly with just because you show admiration to women doesn't mean that you're a good character. That just means that you're a gentleman. You can be a gentleman and still be a terrible character, right? Uh, Dracula was basically the bad person in his novel, and he's known for being a fucking womanizer. Well, not a womanizer. He's known for being a gentleman. Uh, Saying that they're a simp. Well, a simp implies that they are not getting any pussy back. Okay, that's what a simp implies. If you are being nice and showing admiration to your wife, that means that you are not a simp because you already got the pussy, right? Am I wrong? Stop throwing fucking these words around. Okay, I'm getting tired of my generation just throwing words around and not using the proper definition of those words. I'm really getting tired of that. Really am. 46. Mary Sue is not a real criticism. It's thinly veiled misogyny. Always disregarded. I agree with you to an extent. You know, when people have a strong female character, they people are like, oh, she's a Mary Sue. That's not necessarily true. But hey, I just rhymed there. Don't hit the player, hit the game. Um, but Ray from the recent Star Wars trilogy, she's the very definition of a Mary Sue. She has zero training, and then Disney tries to cover it up by by she's by saying, oh, she's basically born like this because she's the granddaughter of Palpatine. No, that's not a good excuse. Let We have to see her hardship. We have to see her train extraordinarily hard. Um, Emotional vulnerability does not make a female character anti-feminist. That was number 47. What the fuck? Isn't being emotional a trait specifically like directed towards females? And emotional vulnerability is not. Uh, how is it anti-feminist? I mean, feminism nowadays, the definition of it, feminism, God, it has Susan B. Anthony will be disappointed on what feminism is right now. Okay. 48. Goblins are inherently anti Semitic. Well, goblins have been around longer than the stereotype that Jews have long noses and all they care about is money. So no, they're not inherently anti-Semitic. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong before. Um, when I watched The Hunchback of Notre Dame and I saw the goblins, no, those are gargoyles. My bad. But if I, those are gargoyles. My bad. I retract that statement. But when I look at a goblin, I don't be like, oh, that's a Jew. No. Okay. Uh, Number 49. I have to wait until the fucking video plays. This is gonna be a long video, goddamn. If your first thought when told about a bigoted trope, bury your gays, goblins, etc., is to try and figure out how to do it well, you are a huge turd who is missing the point. It's not that these tropes aren't done well, it's that they're done too much. You can do these tropes well, as long as they're developed properly. And what the fuck is a bigoted trope? What the fuck does that mean? The reason why they're a trope is because they're done too much. That's why they're tropes. You can execute them perfectly. It's the execution, Lily. I can tell Lily's like one of those people that watch like very simple storytelling, and don't appreciate don't appreciate the slight inconvenience in the story. She wants the story to be predictable as possible, and for every character to essentially have a happy ending, um, which is not true. Number 50, writing a relationship based on a dynamic or trying to get a particular trope, i.e., enemies to lovers, into the story is a bad decision. No, it's the execution. Enemies to lovers. You can execute enemies to lovers if you develop them well enough. Okay? Just because they're enemies doesn't essentially they hate each other. They probably have mutual respect for each other, but they stay as fucking enemies. It's not that hard. Okay, 51. Vitriol does not immediately render criticism invalid. If you tone police criticism, you will likely miss something important. My brain is just fried at this point. Okay, 52. Your fandom will fight and argue. This is how people solve conflicts. It's typically better to let people fight it out than to be complacent and beg people to just stop fighting. Yes, you have really you really don't have that much control over your fan base. So never try to interfere between the interpersonal problems of them. Never try to do that. Um, Number 53. Relating to the above, every hand cannon is valid should never leave your mouth. Do you want pedophiles and fascists in your fan base? Because that's how you get pedophiles and fascists in your fan base. You're gonna get pedophiles and fascists in your fan base, whether you like it or not, Lily. You really have no control over that, right? Right? You don't have any control over that. Okay? They don't really stand out above the rest when it comes to shit like this. Every hand cannon is valid. Well, that's the fucking very definition of a head cannon, Lily. Is that it's valid. All right? A head cannon is essentially a cannon that hasn't been disregarded by the creator, and that person just uses it, and the person that uses the hand cannon can use it freely however they want to. You know. Number 54. Speaking out against abuse fetishists, pedophiles, and bigots in your fan base will always be better in the long run rather than be quiet or complacent. You just said to be quiet or complacent. It might be exhausting to deal with, but it's better for everyone in the long run. Or, you can just let the internet do their job and just take care of the pedophiles because you don't have to intervene with everything that's going on. That's essentially your work. Um, number 55. Fan base is a concept you should never think about. What? Fans who need to be serviced are not actually fans. If you have fans, those fans are already having fun. Don't need to be pandered to. What, like, fan base is such a wide spectrum. Like, what if it's an inside joke? What if it's like an inside joke from like earlier in the novel and the writer just moves it into one of the later installments of the novel? That's technically fan service, right? Someone doing their signature attack, like Goku doing the Kamehameha. That is technically fan service. There are very poorly executed fan services, like Kingdom Hearts 3, that just had everybody come back at the end without a clear, with the story just being extremely convoluted. But this is just asinine. This is completely asinine. Okay, I'm just gonna rapid fire through these. Okay, the tendency for shipping to dominate this course is the biggest sign that characters in a relationship are more satisfying than anything else. People didn't petition for a fourth season of Kim Possible to see what happened to Dragon or to see new villains. Well, like I said earlier, most shows don't know how many seasons they're gonna get, so have they don't know if they should have characters hook up in the first season or the third or the fifth, etc. Okay, they don't know how long they have. They really don't. Um, so yeah, characters are most developed. Their relationships, it depends. Are they the same people in their relationship? Are they the same people in the relationship than outside the relationship? Do they behave differently around friends and families than they do in real life? You see, that's different. 57. Complaints about too much negativity is shooting the messenger. There is an overabundance of negativity. That means there's things to be negative about. People cannot be positive without things to be positive about. She's confusing. She's confusing me, bro. If you do something bigoted, this fucking word again. If you do something bigoted and get yelled at for it, listen to the people yelling at you. Cancel culture isn't real? What? The rage and vitriol will be gone in 2 weeks, and you'll be a better person for it. Getting yelled at, stop being the end of the world at age 10. Cancel culture is very real. Okay? Cancel culture is extremely real. As soon as you don't have the opinion of somebody else, they track you down. That's why, the people on the left, they're not as forgiving as they think they are. And conservatives, they're not as disciplined as they think they are. But yelling is at the end of the world. Well, it depends. Am I receiving positive criticism when they yell at me? Uh, you know, are they telling me how to improve their book in an extremely respectful way? You see, there's a difference. You have to take criticism. Being yelled at is not criticism. It's just being a dick. Like, the quickest and easiest way to make yelling stop is to own up to the mistake. Don't make excuses or explain why you did the bad thing. Fix it and never repeat it. Progressives are very forgiving if you get them results. Stubbornness is what gets people canceled. You just said people don't get canceled. So she's basically saying it's either my way or the highway, which that is extremely bad. I do not watch Wars. I do not sin other people for watching Star Wars. I don't like Pokemon. I actually prefer Digimon. I do not sin people that like Pokemon. What? What? Okay. 60. Forced diversity is a Right wing dog whistle, not a criticism. Lily, it is up to you as a writer for people to see them more than their race, than their sexuality, than their gender. My main character in my novel, he is Japanese. But the thing is, I'm going to develop him. The thing is, his character is going to be much more than just a Japanese character, right? He's going to actually have story development. I have an Hispanic being planned in the story. I have a white person. I have a black person. But I don't see them as for their race. I don't see them from their ethnicities. I see them for what they can bring to the story as separate characters, right? What their personalities can help me with in the story. That's what it. That's what it does. Reclaimed slurs are not universal, and as such should never be included in a work. What if you're like trying to establish? Isn't the queer like not a slur? What if you're like trying to establish that your world is extremely fucked up and you use those reclaimed slurs? Which, by the way, that those words are only offensive if you make them offensive people. That's the like their words. Like stupid was extremely offensive to say back then, but it's completely fine to say something like that now. You see what I mean? It's only offensive if you make it offensive people, you know. Um 62. Oppressing people fighting against their oppressors are not villains. No, I don't care if you think that went too far. Not all those who respond with violence are wrong, and not all those who preach nonviolence are right to do so. Uh, I feel like this is more towards like what has happened in this world with the, the BLM movement or something like that. Uh, that's more like an underdog tale though. That's more like a sidekick of the right hand man of the antagonist realizing how far the antagonist has gone, and they join the hero to fight against the antagonist, which is a redemption arc. That's not going too far. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm getting a headache over here. Rating to above, a good spin on the heroes who never kill mantra to highlight how refusing to kill a villain who later goes on to kill more innocent people makes the hero responsible for those deaths. There's a free story theme for you. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think there's like a comic about Batman saying that Joker didn't kill all these innocents. I killed all these innocents. Which then again, it's not Batman's job is to just leave him for the police to figure out what they're gonna do with him. Batman's not Batman knows he's not the judge, jury, and executioner. He knows that the justice system is. That's the thing. Ugh. God. Okay. Number 64. If you're writing fantasy and you have no issue having dragons in your world, but suddenly think people of color are unrealistic because something medieval European, you're a huge turd and an idiot. Just write whatever the fuck you want to write, please. Please. Is this like a stab at like How to Train a Dragon? What is wrong with you, Lily? All right. I don't know. 65. Sexual tension and chemistry are not the only indicators of a potential relationship. And in a relationship is the quickest thing to fade. Chemistry? No, chemistry is how those people like relate to each other, what those people have in common with each other. That's chemistry. That's not something that fades away. You will always relate to a person like that. What? She just hates people that she just hates sexual shit. I don't know why. If you want to have sex in your novel, give it to you. Just make sure it has substance to it. All right, 66. The best potential romantic partner for a character is their best friend. They're best friends for a reason. No. What if you're at me? I am a straight male. I have a friend who is my best friend. He is a straight male. Does that mean I want to bone him? No, that just simply means that I enjoy his company. Okay, we enjoy our company. Like, but that's the reason for having friends is that you join each other's companies. That doesn't mean you have to fuck every single one of them. Fucking idiotic. Okay, let's fucking continue because Jesus Christ. That was 66, so we're 2/3 of the way through. I don't want X character to be defined by her relationships. Is a stupid philosophy to have. Everyone is defined by their relationships. That's how human beings work. No, you see, that's like the classic that's like having like the love interest only be seen with scenes that the protagonist is in. No, not necessarily. It depends. It's definitely the characters, how the characters react towards certain people. If the character changes towards certain people, not necessarily the relationships. Correct. It's just if they're if they're good enough. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. She has me fucked up. I don't know. Number 68. If you don't want a character to only be remembered for a romantic subplot, don't end the story on that subplot reaching its conclusion. Give it time to sink in, become the new normal for the viewer. The memorable moment will always be the last moment. That's not true. I just said Avatar: The Last Airbender. The last scene is Aang and Katara finally going together, and it was such a great payoff because one, the romantic subplot was just that. It was a subplot, correct? That means that the main plot kind of overshadows the subplot. Um, Number two, don't make it the new normal for anyone. That doesn't really even make sense to me. Number three, the memorable moment will always be the last moment. No, the one thing that always, one thing I feel like is better than the last kiss between Aang and Katara is the day of the solar eclipse, and Aang kisses Katara before going to fight the Fire Lord, which obviously fails, but you know, no, it's stupid. 69. Slow burn does not mean taking forever to get together. It means full series long romantic subplot. Getting together is the start of a romantic subplot, not the end. It depends on how the character responds to this romance. You have characters that don't really trust people. You have characters that trust people way too often. You see, there's a difference. Everyone is different. Now, teenagers, if you're doing a book about teenagers, they're most likely to be fall into romance extremely easily. But more adults or something like that, people that are extremely stoic and don't like to show their feelings, that is different. All right. Sexual awakening is not a real character arc. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What if that? What if whatever? What if whatever they're like attracted to changes the type of person you are? You like there are plenty of people that have been in relationships where they have changed naturally for a person. They change for the better. Sometimes they change for the worse. Yes, it helps the it helps character development. So yes, it is a character arc because it has character development. This is just stupid. Okay, that was 70. Okay. Uh, the only person who thinks boob armor makes sense are people who have never touched a boob. Women are usually the ones to design boob armor. They are usually the ones to design boob armor. Boob armor. Okay, they're usually the ones that do that. Number two, uh, you have the armor has to fit the body perfectly. The armor that the armor that may fit a girl that has a C cup, or probably would not fit the fucking same person. Probably not fit with a girl that has a double D cup. That's just I feel like it's common sense. 72. The bow and arrow are strength weapons, not dexterity weapons. Female characters who do archery should naturally be very physically strong. Longbows have a draw weight of 8 to 150 pounds. Rangers are always stronger than warriors. Deal with it. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Um You use longbows, but there's different variations of a bow that require less strength. The best archers out there aren't physically built. They have precision. They have enough strength to pull back the arrow and shoot it. So no, the best way to avoid tokenism is multiple characters. Tokenism is like another way of saying like the forced diversity. Yes, obviously, it's the best way, but make sure they are written. Don't pull a Netflix. Oh, they okay. Don't have a gay character in there just for them to be gay. Actually, give them a personality. Okay, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to give someone a personality. Uh, Want an easy way to become more accustomed to diverse casts? Limit your straight white cis characters to one of each. Those can be three characters for each trait, or pack it all into one character, but only one of each. Do you just have something against straight white cis characters? I mean, straight white cis people aren't rare. They're extremely common. They're extremely common. It's not a rarity, you know. Straight characters that are cis are not a rarity. They're most common. You know what? But this is just personal preference. Don't be afraid of failure and backlash. If someone is screaming at you about how a character you made is racist, okay, sorry about that. Don't be afraid of failure and backlash. If someone is screaming at you about how a character you made is racist, that is literally free writing advice. That someone is just giving you. That's so that someone is just giving you. Look on the bright side of life for a change. This is ironic to say, look on the bright side of life for a change while you've been degrading people for having their own. Um, what if you made that character intentionally racist to convey a message? There's no winning with people. People of color and LGBT isn't it a Q before the A? Wait, isn't it another T before the Q too? I don't know. I don't fucking know. People are allowed to just exist. Don't feel like you have to convey bigotry. Stop fucking using the word bigotry. I swear to God. Just because they're in the story. In fact, people will be happier if you don't, because having these people defined by suffering is itself a tired trope. What if society doesn't accept them for what they want to identify as? This is really pointless. All right, let's just continue this. Let's just fucking number 77. Uh, I want my characters. I want my characters to have fun. It's a good mentality to have. I mean, what if you want to write a book where you just want to make your writers suffer? You know, because this is not everything is written like a cartoon. Okay, not everything is written like a cartoon movie. You need to make sure that not every ending to that thing is happy. All right. 78. As a general rule, slice of life has always been a more popular genre than action and adventure. Have you seen the box office? Hello? She's definitely one of those people that can't handle like and like heartache and like misery in a story. That's what makes a story though. Feature creep is a problem in storytelling as well. You don't have to cram every single idea, reference, and homage you can think of into a story. You save ideas for another time. I agree with that. Finally, something I agree with that. Okay. 80. D&D alignments are terrible metrics for character design. They're meant as a quick reference for improvisation in a tabletop RPG environment. It shouldn't be taken outside that environment. I don't really know D&D, but if you need to make your character work as efficiently as you wanted to, then try to fucking write your character whatever, however the fuck you want. Like, uh, 81. When writing LGBTA characters, stay as far away from Rocky Horror Picture Show as you possibly can. Some gay people hold it up as a meaningful part of our culture. It is not. It is a transmit misogynist nightmare made by an actual turf, uh, blocked by something reference guide for anything. I don't even know what the fuck this means. I really don't. I apologize. Oh god. Okay. The Q slur thing. What? Last time I checked, saying queer is not a slur. As a concept, tatily rein, reinforces heteronormality by casting LGBTA people as inherently strange. And no big deal representation, the word should be avoided. Normalizing LGBTA people and the Q slur are like oil and water and don't go together. Last time I checked, queer is a perfectly fine term to use. The isn't like the Q in LGBTQ queer? What? So wrong. Rape is an unforgettable crime more so than killing. Killing can potentially be justified in a story without becoming a villain. Rape cannot. Well, what if this person is forced to rape someone to protect his or her own family? You know? Have you ever thought of that? You know? It's like a lot of things. It's just like that's my mom in the background. It's just a lot. It says a lot. Like she's like one of those like, oh, the execution will always be terrible. No, it won't. Uh, Sex scenes are never necessary. You want to include one because you're horny, then more power to you. But any attempt to justify it as important to the story will only get you laughed at. Or there are specific characters in the story that the only way they can show their affection or something like that is through sex because they're not really that good at conveying their emotions. You know, I feel like a very something that I love in stories and shit like that is when they're having extremely passionate sex, because passionate sex still happens when you have that slow intimate sex. You know, you're looking into each other's eyes. That shit still happens. Like, and not every sex is just rough or for fun. People have it because they love each other, you know. And sometimes a guy will say I love you to a girl in the middle of having sex, and that could be extremely intimate motive. Now obviously don't do a fucking 50 shades of gray. Obviously don't do that, but if you want to have sex in your relationship, just make sure that it is portrayed extremely well. Okay. Number 85. Strong characters can still cry and need support from others. Vulnerability is not a character flaw. Obviously, well, it depends on like what crying. I feel like everybody relates to a man crying when his mother or father dies or something like that. It depends on how often these characters cry. These characters can't just cry 24/7. Aang is a great character. He cries a lot. Like it just depends. Make sure that they're crying in relatable circumstances. Uh, Peak TV is a fancy way of saying addiction fueled misery porn. What? This I don't under. What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? What I don't. Um, Addiction based storytelling relies on serialization, cliffhangers, shocking twist, uh, const- constantly raised stakes, and an obsession with foreshadowing to get people to watch not because they're enjoying themselves, but because they're stuck on a tension high. I agree with that, but you want to make sure that they're also enjoying. They can be on. Wait, they can be both. They can be enjoying yourself, and they can have a tension high. People like tension. People like drama. You know. Uh, 87 part 2. Oh god, please let this end soon. By the end, the viewer is only watching for closure because They're already invested so much, and they need their fix in order to feel like it was worth it. This is the same business model that soap operas uses. Yeah, soap operas. Duh. Soap operas are way too predictable to me, so I never watch them. But La que no podía amar, that shit is pretty dope. I love that one. If the sunk cost fallacy didn't exist, shows like Steven Universe and Game of Thrones would have been canceled by season 2, or fans would have want them by popular demand or something. I don't know what the sunk cost fallacy is. I'm probably gonna research that after, but yeah. Hardcore fans will tell you that continuity is the most important thing. They're wrong. I feel like it's a important thing. A series that sticks to its roots throughout the whole thing, that is extremely important, I feel like. But it's not the most important thing. Making sure that the plot is cohesive, I feel like, is an important thing. This is too political is a complaint only made by conservatives. Oh God. When a story acknowledges that non-white and non-straight people exist, the existence of other kinds of people is not political. Ignore these complaints. Once again, Lily, it is up to you for people to make for people to look at your characters other than, oh, they're gay, oh, they're lesbian. Give them an actual personality. Okay, don't push, you know, obviously, if you are aiming towards a specific agenda, you are going to cater to those specific people. It's not that hard. The Laughs of Part 2 was a epic fucking failure. And not because there's a character in there that just so happens to be trans, but because they totally spit in the face of every character from the first game. That's why it was absolute fucking trash. Not because it was too political. The Little Mermaid and Cinderella are more feminist than Beauty and Beast. Well, Belle is an extremely strong female character. Uh, she's intelligent. She's not easily manipulated. The Little Mermaid, I hate the fucking Little Mermaid with a burning passion. The bitch is only 16 and thinks that she could take over the world, do whatever she wants, and nothing will have consequences. Which in the actual book, The Little Mermaid, she dies, which she learned her lesson the hard way. Cinderella is basically a story about a uh, a woman living in poverty, but a guy changes her life. So yes, that's not really empowering. That's quite the opposite, actually. um, it, okay, number 92. Oh my God, we're getting close to this. Thank God, getting close to the end of this. I was getting so fucking sick and tired of this shit. All right, if you what the fuck, I didn't even read that. You fucking shit. If you want to know when to change a trans character's pronouns in narration, do so at the moment where they realize who they are and admit to themselves out loud is chef's kiss. Okay? I feel like more personal preference. As long as it's not harmful or bigoted, stop fucking making the word bigoted. You don't have to justify story decisions made on a basis of self indulgence. I agree with this, but this is very hypocritical because she has stated a lot of things that go against this tweet. 94. Vampires and werewolves are not inherently LGBTA coded. What? In doing so is an example of othering. They work better as metaphors for ari- aristocrat, crusty aristocrats. I don't know how to fucking say that. Predators, respectively, than an underclass. What the fuck? Who looks at werewolves and vampires like this? What? 95. Some of the best stories ever made were written out of spite. This is true, but you can still make a great story with your imagination. All right, number 96. Any system of government, with the exception of fascism, oh my god, here we go, can exist in a positive or negative context. Monarchies are not always inherently evil. See Hawaii pre-annexation, and democracies are not always inherently good. See USA. Right accordingly. Okay, the United States of America is not a democracy. I'm. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. Our founding fathers knew that democracies, full-on democracies, don't work. You know, and they don't. Uh, Democracies are not always inherently good. That's up to you to make it good or not. Write a story that fits you. Monarchies are not always inherently evil. If you want to make them evil, if you don't, that's up to you. Okay. 97. Lesbian still on good terms with ex boyfriend from before coming out is a relation is really cute friendship trope and vice versa. True, but then again, personal preference. You're not adding anything. The only difference, the only real difference between an extremely close platonic relationship and a romantic relationship is what the people involved choose to call it. Best friends are not something that should be prefaced with the word just. Do you know the definition of platonic relationship? Platonic relationship is a relationship that's, that's not sexual. So, yes, there's a clear difference, okay? There's a clear difference between who my future wife could possibly be and who my best friend is. Clear difference. I can enjoy a woman's I can enjoy a woman's presence without trying to be in her pants. I don't understand. 99 normalize friends saying I love you to each other. Well, a lot of friends don't really say I love you. To me, I to my friends I say love you because I love you is like way more personal. Uh fucking I got something in mind, my bad. Uh Obviously friends say I love you, men say I love you to each other. They're just doing it in extremely like moments like say like someone your friend's father passed away. You say to them, I love you. And that's essentially, I love you, bro. And that's essentially saying, yo, bro, if you need anything, I'm here for you because I love you, man. That's essentially what that's saying. The less the I love you is said throughout the story, the more impactful it is. All right. Number 100. If you write a 100 tweet long thread of writing advice, you are a huge loser with way too much time on their hands. Get back to work and do something productive with your time. Oh my god, and she did that. Oh, if you actually criticize me, then this was all a joke. Haha, this is just another way where I can dodge criticism. At least that was 100. 101 tips and rules are two different words. I mean, I guess. This was so stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Like, that was so stupid. I'm so tired from that. Oh my god. I spent. That was a long video. Probably ever going to be my longest personal video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll leave this video in the link in the description for all of you to check out. And yeah, see y'all later. Bye, motherfuckers.